about it. I want to show it to you. First up, we have a keynote speaker, a professional keynote speaker, not Enrique Duplessis standing on stage pretending like he knows what he's saying, someone who some of you might recognize. Now, what I want you to do is pay attention to what you see, pay attention to what you hear, and pay attention to what you feel. So first up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Pierre Duplessis. Now, Pierre gave me his bio, and I read it, and I was like, this is going counter to everything that I want this evening to be. I want it to be raw, I want it to be a conversation, and I cannot just read his bio. So I'm going to say whatever I want to say, and he's most probably in the wings having an aneurysm with fear of what is going to come out of this dude's mouth. But ladies and gentlemen, first things first, I'm Enrique Duplessis. Pierre is Pierre Duplessis. We're obviously family. But over the last few years, we've really had an opportunity to get to know each other. So Pierre is a very unique being. I always joke and I say I'm the better Duplessis, but Pierre is definitely the wiser Duplessis. He spends his time assisting companies with their strategy and assisting them to scale. He works with some of the biggest companies like Tencent, BP, Alan Gray. He has his fingers in everywhere. He is also a 4-time author, best-selling author. He is a keynote speaker. He assists people to get them through moments of chaos. And tonight, I want you to connect with him, listen to him, understand the chaos that we find ourselves in. The world is changing, but Pierre is here to take us on a special journey. He's a dad, he's a husband, but most importantly, he's one of my favorite human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pierre Duplessis.
We live in a world that is filled with copies and copies of copies. Have you noticed, I did, in the last year or so, all the great movies that came out were all either sequels, remakes, reboots, or some sort of adaptation. If you watch, like me, Deadpool Wolverine, really great climactic scene, Hugh Jackman's abs getting exposed and rocking out with Ryan on Madonna, awesome. But still, it's part of a franchise, sort of a sequel, not even really a sequel. Or did you see Inside Out with your kids that taught you all about anxiety, helping us fear the things that we cannot see? Inside Out 2, not 1, number 2. And then we also had Joker, not the first one, the second one. And not the same actor, new actors, but doing the same thing. So just copies of copies of copies. And it's really just copies all the way down. When last did you actually go and see a truly great film? It's like a serious question. When last did you actually go see a truly great film? Remember back in the day when a new movie came out and then everybody was talking about it? You're like, you have to go see it. And we all were waiting in line and you got your ticket for like that first night and it was fully booked and you had to go and see it on the Saturday and all your friends saw it on the Friday and you felt like such a loser. When last did that actually freaking happen? It doesn't happen anymore. This will give away your age. Remember when The Matrix came out? 1999, people. It's almost like 30 freaking years ago. And it was that opening scene when she was like, whoa, on the side, and you were like, oh, this is amazing. The next day you ran back, maybe to high school. I wasn't in high school anymore, but ran back, told all your friends, like, you have to see this. This is incredible, right? We don't have stories like that anymore. Or Gladiator, the first one. Now we have a reboot. Reboot, sequel, remake. Gladiator, and he was walking with the fields, and you were there with your girl, and it was amazing, and it's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and everybody's crying because he like sacrifices himself. It's like immense, but we don't have that anymore. All we have is like all these copies and reboots and sequels, and I can't really remember when last I saw something good. And when you sit down on your couch watching Netflix or Prime or Disney Plus or whatever streaming service you're watching, have you noticed that everything is just sort of meh? Like it's sort of content. On average, it takes about 45 minutes for somebody to decide what to watch on Netflix. So even I tell my kids, it's like, what are we going to watch tonight? So we're going to watch trailers on Netflix. Like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit and watch trailers and then eventually give up and then go to bed, right? It's just content. And I'm pretty sure their content doesn't really have a story. It's sort of like created through market research. No real artistry in it. And the hot new genre, get this, is something called, wait for it, ambient TV. It's TV that doesn't have a heavy plot or heavy intrigue. It's something that you can watch whilst doing something else. So it's something you can watch whilst scrolling on your phone, and you can sort of still keep track about what's going on. Literally a genre that is really actually terrible. Something you can follow whilst doom scrolling. And speaking of doom scrolling, every social media channel now is experiencing some form of carcinization. So a new word for you, maybe, carcinization. So carcinization basically says, in simple terms, that everything eventually will become a crab. So let me explain. About 100 years ago or so, an evolutionary theory came out that said evolution, or nature, really loves the crab shape. Like the wide body and the claws and the curled undertail and the hard shell. It really loves that, and it keeps on recreating it. So we have many different crustaceans and many different families that have no relation that all evolved to become a crab. It's a perfect example of what is known as convergent evolution. So nature facing similar problems, and then it comes up with the same design over and the same solution over and over and over again, copies of copies of copies. So it's like, Pierre, what the hell does this have to do with social media? It's like, I'll get there. So every social media channel is now becoming either Twitter or TikTok. Not TikTok, I still don't get it. I'm still not on. Wait, I am on TikTok. Where's the camera? I can do like the thing that also gives away my age. It's like Fortnite 10 million years ago. Everything is becoming Twitter or TikTok. It's all looking sort of the same. Do you remember Facebook? I think we were one of the first people on Facebook when it launched in like 2006. Remember Facebook in 2013? Like, it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, you could follow all your friends in real time and see what they're up to, and you found these really great events in your city or in your neighborhood. You could find really weird groups like fellow porcelain doll collectors or amateur Tibetan throat singers, and you can geek out about whatever you're geeking out. Like, I think Mark Zuckerberg still thinks that it's that, and it's that awesome. It's not. Or Instagram, right? Instagram used to be this, it was so niche because it was only on iPhone, so only the cool kids had it. And then it was this little creative hipster corner of the internet where you can follow your friends in real time, and then their beautifully filtered photographs and the things that they like, that they're interested in. But now, actually, when you go and you put all these things next to each other, they all tend to look exactly the same. Where they used to offer real connection and value and meaning, right now what they offer is like likes and engagements and doom scrolling and basically addiction. And the reason for this is that value and meaning and connection is great. It's really difficult to measure for an investor or a VC fund or whatever. So it's really difficult to invest to track that, the value and the meaning and the connection. But what you can track is likes, engagement, and views. So everything then moves towards that. Everything becomes that because that looks good on a pitch deck and that looks good in a report. So everything is experiencing this form of carcinization. It all becomes actually exactly the same. And living in this world of AI, like, that doesn't help. Now, to be fair, I am an AI fan, and I do talk about it quite often, but the way people are using it, it's actually terrible, because AI is just a regurgitation of what has come before. it learns from the past and just gives you a remix, something that's the same. It has no original thought, no experience, and it's just sort of throwing us down deeper and deeper into this hole of like knockoffs and remakes and the soulless thinking. Have you noticed how AI writing, about every second or third, or just about every post on LinkedIn, it's like somebody that did something on AI, it's soulless. There's no fear, there's no desire, there's nothing behind it. It's just a copy of what has come before. And it's a complex learning algorithm, like for sure, that can think and it can predict what's supposed to come next, but it can only compute. It doesn't actually carry the cost of memory like you and I do. Nick Cave, the artist and the singer and the writer, said just the other day, ChatGPT has no inner being. It has been nowhere. It has endured nothing. So now we are stuck in this endless recycling, chewing the cud of the internet over and over and over again. And we wonder why people are depressed and like riddled with anxiety. So my work, the work that I do, is to try and help people and businesses find their way through chaos, to help them design strategies that can get them to win. And I've helped multinational sort of behemoths all the way down to like a single mom wanting to start something to get some extra cash, right? And in all of this, I've learned that there are only really 3 ways to win in business and in life. Only 3 ways. Here they are. You have to be first, or you have to be the best, or you have to be different. Let me take you through these 3. So first, being first is great. If you're the first business or the first person to invent something like the light bulb or the microprocessor or figuring out a way to pay your friends using an email or scanning a little QR code, then that's awesome. It's really good to be first. Being first is remarkable, but it doesn't last forever. It's also extremely, extremely rare to be first. Netflix was first. It used to be the cool kid on the block, and now it's just sort of meh. And same with SnapScan and a million other examples. Used to be first, and now it's like not that special anymore. Second option, a way to win, is to be the best. And so often when I sit in a strategy session with people, they go, our mission is to be the best in blah, blah, blah industry. Like whatever that, but what does that mean? What does it mean for your team? You just end up with these vague metrics and an extremely frustrated team that has no idea actually what does the best actually mean. And the best, normally, it leads you down this very scary path, what I like to call the cheaper, faster, nicer path. That you're trying to be either cheaper or faster or nicer. So cheaper is a strategy. Like if you really want to play that game, like you can keep on cutting your margin and cutting your profit and trying to wring a little bit of profit everywhere out and trying to optimize and keep on going and keep on going. But unless you are like Temu level cheap, you're not going to make it. It's an inevitable bankruptcy that's in your future. Cheap is not a great game to play. Is that really the business that you want to be in? Or, the second one, you can choose to be faster. Now, faster sounds good. We're going to be the fastest, blah, 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 whatever, right? We're going to be the fastest. Fastest is good, but it's also tricky because everybody, all of your competitors, all have access to the exact same technology. You might be first for a little while, you might be fastest for a little while, and then everybody will eventually catch up. Like, here's an example. We all love 60/60, right? So 60/60, darling of the South African kind of mom and pop having to get groceries really quickly. So in the EU, a business launched called Gorillas. Now, Gorillas did not do 60 minutes. Gorillas said, we're going to do it faster than ordering an Uber. Under 10 minutes. So the idea was that whilst you were standing and cooking, and you go, oh crap, I forgot the paprika. Then you can go, I caught paprika, and then the thing would go, and the guy would like ring the doorbell before your whole thing burnt. That was the idea. And they rapidly expanded across Europe and eventually also launched in New York City. And eventually they were acquired by a Turkish competitor. And they started in 2020. By 2022, they were acquired. And in 2024, they pulled out of almost all of Europe. They pulled out of New York City. Now they're only in their home base in Turkey. And now they promise 15 to 20 minutes delivery. Because, guess what? And their own words, the model proved hard to sustain. We're like, oh, big surprise, doing anything under 10 minutes, right? Or you can play the nicer game. And the nicer game is about customer service. And I kid you not, also, every strategy session, somebody says, what we do best is customer service. And they want to put it up as a strategic pillar. And I was like, okay, fine, you can put that on, but having decent or good customer service is just permission to play. Like, that's it. You have to have it. It's mandatory. So unless you are going to be like the Bear, Michelin star, 11 Madison Park level, yuppie chef writing hundreds of thousands of little handwritten cards, unless you're going to be that, it's not a strategy. It's mandatory. It's like when a bank, and if there's any banks here, then I'm sorry, but it's like when a bank has trust and integrity as its values. Like, you're a bank. You have trust. There are places for banks that don't have trust or you can't trust and they don't have any integrity. It's called jail. Like, you can't put that as your values. So unless your customer service is truly extraordinary, it's not a strategy. It's just mandatory. So being cheaper doesn't work. Or being cheaper, faster doesn't work, or being the best doesn't work. So the only one that you're left with is being different. That is the only true way that you can actually win. I want to tell you a little story. So Seth Godin, one of my favorite authors, the marketing guru, wrote this in one of his books. And he took his family to Europe. So he's from New York. So New Yorkers took his family to Europe, and they left. They got from the airport, got the rental car, got into it, and they were driving down the countryside. And as they were driving around, they see what sort of every single European sees on a daily basis. But because they were New Yorkers, this was something incredible, like something completely different that they've never seen before. Guess what? It was a cow. They saw a cow. Because as New Yorkers, the only time you see a cow is on a plate. So they saw this cow and they stopped the car, screeched to a halt, hung out the windows, took pictures, blah, 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 drove on. Little bit further down the road, saw another herd of cows. Stopped, took pictures again. By the third kind of group of cows or herd of cows, they didn't stop anymore to take pictures. And Seth, being the marketing guru that he is, said to himself, well, this is really interesting. We were really interested in this cow when we started out, but now the cows are all just the same. What would be really cool is if the cow was purple. Then it would be something weird, something interesting, something different, something to tell your friends about, something to remark about, and something that is actually remarkable. And that's the third and the only option left, is for you to be different, to be unique, to be something that people want to tell their friends about. To be first is very, very rare. To be the best is vague and frustrating and sends you down the cheaper, faster, nicer path. But you can be different. Something completely unique. Why would people come to you and not to somebody else to solve their problems? Why would they choose you and not your competitor? And we all should think about this. You should think about this on a personal level, and you should think about this on a business level as well. What is it about you that makes you awesome? And this is the very heart, this is what I'm trying to preach to everybody, the very heart of what strategy is. It's not about setting goals. It's not about some fluffy, vague vision statement. It's definitely not about operational effectiveness. That just doesn't work out. It's really about being different. It's about making a deliberate choice. Strategy is about making choices. It's about deliberately choosing to be different. If you had the task to compete with one of the biggest beverage brands in the world, Coca-Cola, what would you do? Would you go and create a drink that is bigger, sweeter, like even sweeter, and cheaper? Is that the plan? Or would you go and create something that is half the size, smaller, tastes like crap, to be honest, and is twice the price? That is a purple cow. Like that is actually Red Bull. When we're creating and competing, we need a touch of absurdity, like a touch of craziness. Red Bull went and created an entire new category. They didn't even compete with Coca-Cola. They just shot completely sort of around them and did a little bit of a shot left in a paper can, right? That's what you need. A touch of the absurd. A touch of art. There was this great writer who wrote this beautiful book in the 1930s. It's called The War with the Newts. Best book on AI, actually. It's a little side note. And he wrote in it, his name is Karl Čapek. And he wrote, without a sense of art, it's impossible ever to think of something new. We need to be poets if we are to keep the world moving. Now, I can hear you say, Pierre, that's great, but we're a hedge fund. Or we are actually a bank. I'm sorry. So we're conservative. We can't be freaking Red Bull. And that's the point. You shouldn't be Red Bull. You should be you. If you are the conservative, careful, meticulous brand, then be that. But amplify that so that we can all experience that. Be bravely and unapologetically you. That's what we all are aching for. And it's true for business, but it's also true for you in this room. That's what this is. To be completely 100% you. That's what we all want to see. You see, humans are weird. We are these little creatures of comparison. We like to always look and see what the cool kids are doing over there. And then we copy them. Like, because I want to be like the cool kids. And then we get really depressed because I can't be as cool as that guy or as rich as that guy, or whatever it is. And we keep on comparing ourselves and trying to copy each other. And if Darwin was right, and we were all sort of descended from apes, we actually have evolved and become the best kind of ape because we ape each other all the time, ironically. Peter Thiel, the billionaire and investor, speaks about this quite often. He says that when it comes to innovation and the new, we are actually stuck. It seems like the world is moving very fast because this thin sliver of the digital space is moving fast. But for the rest of it, we're stuck in this regurgitation and remakes and copies of copies of copies. So what is the future? What do you want the future to be? Perhaps today, with Enrico and his team and multimedia, we have a little bit of a glimpse about what can be possible. Something new, something that actually connects with people, something that actually meets your goals. If you believe that being different is the only way, it's first of all, you're going to have to be brave. You're going to have courage. Because the more you push into your own identity as a person or as a business, plenty of people are going to hate you. Plenty of people are not going to like you. And you're going to have courage to say no. To say no to certain projects, to developing certain things, to doing certain types of events. You're going to have that courage to say no. And people are not going to like that. And then you can tell me, well, Pierre, I don't want to be, we're not some small little business out in Melville that can say no to anybody, to everybody. People have to like us. Now, here's an interesting little factoid. Apple, gigantic business. Like one of the biggest businesses in the world. $4 trillion. I heard some people trying to figure out what it means in Afrikaans, and nobody could figure out what a trillion is in Afrikaans. It's so much money, we don't have a word for it in Afrikaans. So like miljarde, biljoenarde, triljoene, something like that, right? So, and then trying to convert it to how much $4 trillion actually is in Afrikaans, like, dis baie geld. So Apple, $4 trillion value company, right? Their revenue in 2024 was $391 billion. South Africa's GDP is $380 billion. So all of us working together, all of us working really hard, we can't even beat Apple, like one business. And Apple is brave, and it's passionately hated by millions of people. Being brave and saying no does not mean you have to be small. Owning your identity does not mean that you have to be small. You have to start asking that question and going deeply into yourself and figuring out, but who are you? Who are you as a business, as a person? Who are you? It's the most important question in the world. What is uniquely you? What is the thing that only you can do that nobody else can do as well as you can do it? What is your superpower? What is the vision of the future that your business has, that your team has, that you have? What is that? Or you can live in this world of copies where everybody is sort of the same. It's like this question, do you want your team to show up with their brave, unique, created, weird, strange selves and bring all of who they are to their jobs? Or do you want just copies of copies of copies of copies? What do you want? I know you want the former. You want people to be their brave, unique, awesome selves. So how do you get there? Some practical. My wife always says, Pierre, people have no idea what you're talking about. You have to get practical. So here's like the practical part of it. How do you actually get there? Well, you spend time asking questions. You ask, where did I come from? What was my origin story? Like you go home, literally and physically, go home, and then figure out, what did I want to be when I grew up? Why was this business founded? What was our origin story? What was that flame that was lit right in the beginning that we forgot about? What was that? You find that again. You ask questions like, when did our customers love us so much they were throwing money at us and grabbing the products from our hands? When did that last happen? And you ask, when did they hate us? When did they hate us so much? And you look for all these different clues to figure out who you really are. And then you look at life right now and you go, when do we feel a sense of flow as a team? When does our business feel like it's effortless? When does it feel like whatever we're doing is actually worth it and worth fighting for? Like, when do we feel that? And then you start leaning into those things more and more and more and create something that's truly unique and truly awesome. Something that people would remark about. This is messy. It's very messy, and it's hard. The world is pulling you to become like everything else, to become a crab, to become like Twitter or TikTok, to just make a copy of a copy of a copy. But what we need is rebels. That's what we need to move us forward. We need mavericks and change makers, and we need growth. God, do we need growth? We need growth. And we're not going to get that by copying everything. We need products and services that move our country and our world forward. We need the new. I am so passionate about the new. The new is often scary, and the world is often very unkind to the new. The new needs friends. That's extremely important. The new needs friends, because the new is what's going to take us into the future. And we need that uniqueness. We need you as a business and as a person to show up and be what you were made to be. We cannot, now more than ever, afford to lose what it means to be a human being. Our weird, crazy, sweaty, awkward, loud selves. We cannot afford to lose that. And that's what we need to celebrate. So in the words of Steve Jobs, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who actually do. thank you so much for listening to me and paying your most precious resource and for showing up. If you scan this QR code, that will send you to a little page, and if you fill in your details, you'll get a keynote companion. It's this whole talk summed up in a little tiny little PDF that you can then download. Then afterwards, if you don't like anything else, you can just unsubscribe and we don't have to see each other ever again. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.